without further ado, I am bringing you two dynamic women. They are amazing. I learn so much from them every time I talk to them. And that is Sharon Offley and Colleen Bass from Hua Moon. They are amazing nurse midwives, nurse practitioners, and they're going to be talking about changes that occur after postpartum. So take it away, Sharon and Colleen.
Aloha, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to start first by saying thank you to Michelle for organizing this event, and also to give Michelle a little plug. Michelle, I'll never forget how you once said to me that if anyone gets the most simple same-day shoulder surgery, they would never get sent home without physical therapy. But women carry babies for 9 months, birth them one way or another, vaginally or abdominally, and that's it. So I think almost anyone who's carried a baby full term and birthed a baby could really benefit from some one-on-one support that Michelle can offer. I wish that's something that our society offered to everybody who gave birth. I just wanted to share that. Is Colleen on, and is her mic on? Okay, I don't see Colleen. Next thing I wanted to say was I have a little poem. I just wanted to read this. I think this sets the tone for, I don't know, the world right now and postpartum for sure. So this is just a little, not a poem, a quote, a little thought for all of these mamas who will soon give birth or who have given birth. It's a completely time of profound change and transition, physically, emotionally, interpersonally. Every single aspect of life changes when you have your first baby and when you grow your family. It's really a time for some radical self-compassion as you navigate those changes. So here's my little quote.
Okay, sorry, my mic works now. It just wasn't working.
Hi.
Hi.
I wish I could see you in person. I love you.
I know.
Okay. Today may there be peace within. May you trust that you are exactly where you are meant to be. May you not forget the infinite possibilities that are born in yourself and others. May you use the gifts that you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. May you be content with yourself just the way you are. Let this knowledge settle into your bones and allow your soul the freedom to sing, dance, praise, and love. It is there for each and every one of us. Is that a little, I guess, a little message to new mamas who are often very hard on themselves and quick to feel inadequate or judge themselves or feel like they're not living up to some expectation, either their own societies. So just a little, I guess, a reminder to kind of set the tone of it's new terrain, and you get to use that time to do a lot of emotional unpacking. You get to unpack your birth and labor. You get to kind of figure out how motherhood might look and feel for you. And I think there's one thought that I wanted to share, and that is that the whole notion of a 6-week postpartum visit is ridiculous and arbitrary. And I'm pretty sure that some medical provider, I'm imagining maybe somebody who never had a baby, kind of picked that day. Because basically, a chunk of women will still be bleeding. Many are still trying to are still having some pain with breastfeeding. It's not uncommon that if somebody had stitches, Colleen and I will still see some residual stitches that haven't absorbed, and even like a laceration that's not fully healed. So I think a better way to look at that is that Mother Nature gives us, Mother Nature gives us, you know, nearly a year to grow a baby. Give yourself at least that to come back from it, both physically and emotionally. Colleen, why don't you join in?
Oh, I just think that was all well said. And I don't know if I would have truly known that if I hadn't gone through it myself as a midwife. I feel like our society and our comparisons, the way that we compare each other to what we see on social media or just in our community, makes it really hard to drop in and just be with our postnatal bodies and challenges and all of that. So I guess I'd like to start by just kind of saying what is postpartum? Postpartum or postnatal is that period after birth. And like Sharon said, it's not really identified by just 6 weeks. It is the 4th trimester, and it can last quite long, a year even, in my opinion, or plus, till you sort of regain your post-baby body or don't, and you get in a rhythm to being that selfless human being, which is a mom, and taking care of your newborn. So to me, like Sharon said, six weeks is just kind of an appalling close to the medical relationship of the postnatal period. But that's why in our practice, I feel really grateful that we get to continue to see our mom for their postnatal challenges past that period, if need be.
I think some of the variation, I think it's a good time to chime in about how much variation there is. And so, and also that the way this period, it's an unfolding, and it's not really related to physical or emotional strength. Someone might be very grounded emotionally, and they might be very strong and athletic physically and have an extremely challenging time postpartum. But occasionally we'll have a mom calling us at 4 weeks to say, can I have sex? That is certainly not typical. There's moms at 4 months that are like, yeah, sex is the last thing I want to do. So there's this really massive range. I think that's important to kind of acknowledge and validate. And the same with bonding. You watch some moms fall instantly, deeply, fully in love with their babies and really take on that role like they did their whole life to have it. And moms that really takes time to unfold and blossom. And there's a lot of overwhelm and physical exhaustion and sleep deprivation. So trust that it will blossom, but we don't necessarily control the pace of that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's just having those realistic expectations or just no expectations, that surrendering that is going to serve you starting from the prenatal period. So having a bit of surrender before you even step into that space or that journey of your labor, because nobody can even tell you how that's going to go. And that is also not dictated by athletic ability, strong mind, all of those things. You can prepare for them, but you're not going to know how that journey is going to go. Only that baby is the one that's going to know, and it kind of unfolds. And the postpartum period is just an extended version, I feel, of that unfolding.
Colleen had wanted to discuss what does postnatal care look like, and I think the biggest key to that is communication. And so that's communication with your provider, whether it's your obstetrician or your midwife, and also with the people around you, your partner or your closest family or friends. So communicating about any concerns, like does this bleeding has a funky smell? Is that okay? Or when my baby first latches, it feels terrible, but then it's okay. Is that, there's so many questions. And we often tell people, if you find yourself Googling at 3:00 in the morning, it's time to call us. let us help. So I think that a big aspect of postnatal care is communicating. Also with the people around you, it takes an exquisite vulnerability to share if you're struggling. And most people want to help, so you finding the strength to reach out for that help can be really helpful, whether it's to say, I need you to make me some food, or I'm feeling alone, I need company today, or whatever the case may be. That piece is really important. And I think also, as Colleen said, setting the bar low with expectations. I think when we're often scolding people for overdoing it, we get to their home for a little home visit and we ask if they've been resting, and women will say, oh yes, but then it turns out, well, I just threw in one load of laundry and I just did a few dishes and I this and I that. And really, we say in those early days, one job, feed your baby and sleep. Everybody else does everything else.
I'm going to piggyback on what Sharon said. Is just, I think that Hua Moon, or our practice, has like the luxury to be there for our moms and have them call us whenever they have a question or need reassurance. And I will say, unfortunately, a lot of families that may deliver in the hospital don't have that when they leave the hospital. They can't just call up their provider, text their provider. So I do want to share that Hua Moon is here also for lactation support, or during this time, a telehealth that, hey, if you need to know, does this feel normal or is this bleeding normal? You could also reach out to Sharon and I, because I feel like our situation is very unique and rare, and that we have that relationship with our patients, that we're texting them and calling them and available to them, where I don't know that the majority of new moms have that opportunity.
And I think Kauai, especially, it can be a place where many people have deep roots and huge families, but also there's many women that are literally thousands of miles away from their key support people, and that's an added challenge. Right now, of course, with COVID, it's in some ways it may encourage moms to be able to just drop in, stay at home and do nothing, but man, isolating and this backdrop of universal stress, that's not, that's uniquely challenging for sure for postpartum families. Colleen's always good about talking with our mamas ahead of time about getting some things set up and some realistic expectations. I feel like, Colleen, you're so great with that, about the meal trains.
I don't feel like I am, but it's just important to get yourself set up for your postpartum. We spend so much time in the prenatal period preparing for that one day or 36 hours or however long your birth may be. There's so much preparation and education that goes into that. And then a woman's just left to kind of figure it all out afterwards. And so just having that support, set up your circular network. A meal train is great. That's the thing that my husband found was the most helpful, just because you don't have to worry about shopping and planning, and you can all just drop in as a family. But really just reaching out to your like circle of friends or family, or your Hanai family, because as Sharon mentioned, on Kauai, it's much more challenging for a lot of families because we don't have a lot of us don't have our really close family nearby that can come and help. And sometimes those family members aren't even helpful. So also creating those boundaries as you're creating your circles of trust and support, knowing those relationships that are going to have a little bit more solid of a boundary as far as opinion coming into your space, respecting that postpartum time is really important to identify. So that was just kind of a few thoughts about how to help prepare for that postpartum time, is just reaching out to friends, giving them their expectations, even to your family members, letting them know in advance what you envision your postpartum time to look like. Less visitors, more time together, sleep when the baby sleeps. That's always a really hard one to do, but a very important one to do.
Yeah. It might be interesting of the people who are, it's interesting to just be sort of talking and not be able to really kind of
interact.
Forth. All of those who have children already, I don't know, maybe like if you could just sort of like indicate if your postpartum was humbling in some way, or, you know, I guess I'd like to kind of validate the normalcy of that. When I used to teach nursing at KCC, I would always ask, like, who thinks they had some baby blues? And I think usually like 80% of the class that had children would raise their hand. So let me just see here, a little look, who had some postpartum challenge? Oh, I'm seeing so humbling. Wish I would have had you guys. I definitely did with my second. Okay, thank you.
I definitely did with my first and didn't even know it until like I came out of the fog. Like I was like, whoa, that was postpartum depression.
Yeah. And it can be a bug. That's such a great description. Absolutely. I have one of those water gardens, and for some reason it reminds me of postpartum. Like eventually that beautiful flower pops out, but man, it's like messy and green,
muddy
and
sludgy
and sludgy. And sometimes that flower just pops right up, easy peasy. And sometimes I wait 6 months for it. To me, that's postpartum.
Yeah, it still can be challenging. I just saw someone's message pop up, and a year later, like you're going to constantly be faced with new challenges that you never experienced before especially when you're a first time mom.
Yeah. And yes, I'm seeing nursing challenges, which made everything work. Feeding your baby is primal. It is fundamental. If you're having breastfeeding challenges, there's no peace in the world. Like it just doesn't get any harder than having trouble feeding your baby. I'd love to hear just in the chats, you know, things that worked, things that were helpful, and unique challenges. Colicky baby, absolutely. Some babies are kind of like low needs. Like you can actually feed that baby, lie that baby down, and go have your breakfast. Others need to be worn. Like you cannot put them down or they will scream for half a year. So your own baby makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, I saw 2 responses, both kind of coming from different places, about just having an idea of what they would hope postpartum support could be or would be, and, you know, like going back to work too soon. Yeah, we all have sort of our parameters that we have to work with going back to work, or what support we can have in our home. And in other countries, like where this 4th trimester comes from is honoring that time, which we don't really do in our culture. We don't. So that new 4th trimester book came out, and a lot of our moms have been implementing that 40 days at home in bed resting, but not everybody can do that.
Absolutely. And we always say, like, we're almost unique among developed countries that we would even be having this conversation, because pregnancy and early childhood are not honored in our culture the way they are almost universally. There's a recognition that families need downtime to integrate babies. So that is something somewhat unique to the US. I always like how, Colleen, another thing I always like that you mention is that finding identity after baby. I'm curious if anybody has had that experience where sometimes you just drop into motherhood so deep and so heavy, but then there's this kind of like almost losing of yourself or having to kind of reinvent or figure out who the new you is. I just want to say that that's a part of things too. Sometimes Colleen and I observe older moms who've had some time to like, yes, still a little lost, says somebody. That's okay. You're going to find it.
Or even feeling guilty when you go back to work that you're actually enjoying going back to work because that's just a piece of who you are. And then you
born again mama here, or going back to work feeling like you're doing a shitty job at work because you're thinking about your baby, and a shitty job with your baby because you're worried about work.
Yeah. All of it. It's so complex.
Neither of which are true. It is complex. Totally. Relationships and sexuality. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to plug in my computer here. I just wanted to say there's the same number of hours in the day, but now there's another person's needs to meet, and getting kind of new roles within a relationship can be super challenging. And has anybody had that experience, kind of having to like renegotiate things with their partner after baby?
That'd be almost impossible not to, right?
Oh yeah, exactly, definitely. Yeah.
It also looks like we're at 11:06 where there's like opening for Q&A and our drawing. So if anyone has like very specific questions that Sharon and I can ask, you can type them in that side message board.
So if you want to get a hold of Colleen and Sharon, I'm telling you, they are the bomb. For not just postnatally, but like for mom visits, menopausal visits. I'm telling you, they're fantastic. So here is their information. Give me a second to share it.
Thank you.
And also, if anyone is interested, we just started a group called, we're just calling it Prenatal Circle. And it's a virtual group on Fridays at 11. And there's also a Facebook group. And it is for moms supporting moms during the pregnancy journey and the postpartum journey. So my email is sharon@huamoonwomenshealth.com, or it looks like you guys have our email. Yeah. If anybody would like to participate in that group, this week we made a playlist for labor. Everybody contributed their favorite labor song. And let's see, last week we shared our darkest moments and brightest lights during COVID. It's kind of evolving. We're not exactly sure what it will look like, but just a support group.
And I'm also teaching prenatal yoga and postnatal yoga on Mondays on Instagram Live if you're able to get on at 10 on Mondays. And it saves on the stories so you can like catch it later if you decide you want to.
Yeah. And probably you guys, I guess it's obvious, but this is just free stuff. It's not like classes that cost money.
Oh, so cool, you guys. Thank you so much. So you guys are also donating a little gift to our new moms as well. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're donating?
So we're donating I think it's some postpartum support stuff from Soul Remedies. It's did we do the tea and the tincture, Sharon? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's just like a very nutritive herbal tea. Soul Remedies teas are amazing. They're vibrant and very tasty. And then there's a tincture. The tincture is cramp bark. So it is very helpful for post baby cramping, like just that immediately after birth, that you can take directly in your mouth after having your baby. And if you need it for the next, 24 or 48 hours, it's safe. And it's also really great because you probably won't use the whole entire thing for headaches. So like if you have headaches, it's very helpful for headaches in addition to being there and menstrual cramping. That's another great use for it.
Oh, that is so cool.
I saw one question about colicky babies. Well, we're not pediatricians, but oh my gosh, just validating, that's so hard. And let's see, Happiest Baby on the Block is a source that talks about the 5 S's, the shushing and swaying, and it's really, really hard when you have that kind of a high needs baby. Sometimes asking for help, getting your little 20 minutes to take a bath or read a trashy magazine or any other ideas about colicky babies?
Deep breaths and passing that baby on maybe to another person in your family that can help if it gets to just be too much constant crying on ends. But yeah, the Happiest Baby on the Block is great. You can watch a video of it, really quick, like synopsis of the 4 S's, I think on YouTube. And they also used to have it on Netflix. I don't know if they still do. But that is really a good resource. I'm trying to find the information for that book. Somebody asked me for the 4th trimester book. I'm looking for it right now. But if somebody else knows, pop it on the
other
chat.
thing I was going to say about the colicky baby is just a constant reminder that it's not anything that a mom is doing wrong or not doing enough of. Like, it's not a reflection on you, your love, or your motherhood.